Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about the properties of real numbers. Now, with real numbers there are six different properties, and I'm just going to outline them right here. So the first one is called closure, and that is that when you add two real numbers together, you also get a real number as a result. So a plus b will equal a real number. And same with multiplication, a times b will also equal a real number. That's what's meant by closure. Okay, so next one's called the commutative property. Now this is where you get you add two numbers together or multiply two numbers together and you get the same result. So commutative. So I'll just do a little example here. So a plus b will also equal the same thing as b plus a. You get the same result. And when you're multiplying them together, a times b is the same thing as b times a. Like that. So property number 3 is called the associative property. Associative. And this is where you can add three numbers together, and it won't matter what order you add them in, because it will be the same result. So you can have a plus b, and then add those first, which is what's meant by the brackets. And then you add c. You'll get the same answer than if you add a plus b plus, if you add b plus c first and then add a, the same answer. That's what's meant by associative. And same with multiplication. You can multiply a times b first and then multiply that by c. That's the same thing as multiplying b times c first and then multiplying that by a. You get the same answer. So that again is the associative property. And now number 4, this is called the identity. Now for adding, 0 is the identity for numbers that are added together. So 0 is the identity. And as an example, there's you can add 0 to a and you get a. Or by the commutative property, you can go with 0 plus a and you'll also get a. And now multiplying. In multiplying, 1 is the identity. And in this case, you multiply a times 1 and you get a. And then also 1 times a by the commutative property. So what's meant by the identity is that what operation would you do to the original number to get the same number as a result? So if you're adding 0, then you get a plus 0, 0 plus a equals a. Multiplying, 1 is the identity because you can multiply any number times 1 and get the original number that you times by 1. So that's the identity for multiplication. And now number 5, our 5th property of real numbers. This is called the inverse. Okay, so what's meant by inverse is that it's a number that will you can make the adding or multiplying by a real number and then end up with its identity, which in addition, as I mentioned before, is 0, or with multiplication the identity is 1. So for adding, the inverse for adding is a negative number of a real number. So negative a would be the inverse of a. And to illustrate that point, I'm going to go a plus, and then I'm adding the inverse, which is negative a, and I get 0, which is the identity in adding. And then I'll do this also to show that it conforms to the commutative property. So that would be negative a plus a. You still get 0. Okay, so with multiplication, it's a little different. You want to get what a number. You want to get 1 by an operation with any given real number. So in this case, the inverse would be 1 over a real number. So 1 over a, and that's the inverse of a. And to show this, I'm going to multiply a times its inverse, which is 1 over a, and that would give you 1, which is the identity when you're multiplying the real numbers. Okay, and I'll just, for the sake of completeness, I'll just do the commutative property. And one point to mention here is that a cannot equal 0, because dividing by any number by 0 would make it undefined, which means you can't do it in mathematics. So last property is called the distributive property. Distributive. Now this is a rule in multiplication of real numbers, and what it means is that you can multiply numbers in any order and get the same results. So, no, that's not right. It means that you can, if you have numbers in brackets like b plus c, you multiply a times both. So a times b, and then a times c, and that gives you a times b plus a times c. And it works both ways too. You can have a plus b, then multiplying c over here, you get the same thing, because you can multiply a times c and then b times c, like that. Then you get a times c as a result, plus b times c. So that's a distributive property. So those are the 6 properties of real numbers. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned a lot, and I'll be back with another video soon. Thanks for watching.